Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're going to continue reading from Caitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 9, verse number 291. Excuse me. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhite kirim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse 291. Kshaneke Avesha Chadi Dunhar Dhairya Haila Ishwar Purira Sambandha Gosani Janaila. After some moments, they came to their senses and became patient. Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu then informed Sri Rangapuri about his relationship with Ishwarpuri. Because as we remember in the earlier verse, Sri Rangapuri was saying that there must be some relationship between Madhavpuri and Mahāprabhu. Verse number 292. Adbhut premera vanya dunhar uthaila dunhe manya kari dunhe anande vasila. They were both inundated by the wonderful ecstasy of love that was aroused in them. Finally, they sat down and respectfully began to converse. Verse 293. Tui chane Krishna katha kahe ratri dine ei mate gunaila pancha sat dine. So in this way, they discuss topics about Lord Krishna continually for 5 to 7 days. Verse number 294. Kautuke puri tanre puchila janmasthana gosani kautuke kahena navadvipanam. Out of curiosity, Sri Rangapuri asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about his birthplace, and the Lord informed him that it was Navadvip Dham. Verse number 295. Shri Madhav Purira Sange Sri Rangapuri Purve Asya Chila Tenho Nadia Nagari. Sri Rangapuri had formerly gone to Navadvip with Sri Madhavendra Puri, and he therefore remembered the incidents that had taken place there. I think I'd said Madhavpuri in the earlier verse. It was Madhavendra Puri when I was trying to recall our last reading. Verse number 296. Jagannath Mishra Ghare Bhiksha Ye Karela Apurva Mochar Ghanta Tahan Ye Khaila. As soon as Sri Rangapuri recalled Navadvip, he also recalled accompanying Sri Madhavendra Puri to the house of Jagannath Mishra, where Rangapuri had taken lunch. He even remembered the taste of an unprecedented curry made of banana flowers. Verse number 297. Jagannathera Brahmani Tenha Mahapativrata Matsalya Haina Tenha Yena Jaganmata. Sri Rangapuri also remembered the wife of Jagannath Mishra. She was very devoted and chaste. As for her affection, she was exactly like the mother of the universe. Verse number 298. Randhani Nipuna Tan Sama Nahi Tribhuvane Putra Sama Sneha Karena Sannyasi Bhojane. He also remembered how Sri Jagannath Mishra's wife Shachimata was expert in cooking. He recalled that she was very affectionate towards the sannyasis and fed them exactly like her own sons. Verse number 299. Tanra Ek Yogya Putra Kariyache Sannyas Shankarayana Nama Tanra Alpa Vayasa. Vayasa is age in Bengali. Sri Rangapuri also remembered that one of her deserving sons had accepted the renounced order at a very young age. His name was Shankararanya. Verse 300. Ei Tirthe Shankara Rannera Siddhi Prapti Haila Prastave Srirangapuri Edika Kahila. Srirangapuri informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that the sannyasi named Shankaracharya had attained perfection in the holy place Pandharpura. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother was named Vishwarup. He left home before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and accepted the sannyas order under the name of Shankararanya Swami. He travelled all over the country and finally went to Pandharpura, where he passed away after attaining perfection. In other words, he entered the spiritual world after giving up his mortal body at Pandharpura. Srirangapura, a disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puri and godbrother of Ishwar Puri, disclosed this important news to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu's elder brother, whose name was Vishwarup, when he left home, he attained sannyas, and his sannyasi name was Shankararanya, and he left the spiritual for the spiritual world in Pandharpur after attaining the perfection. He passed. Verse number 301. Prabhu kahe purvashram mein tenha mora bhrata Jagannath Mishra purvashrame mora pita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in my previous ashram, because Mahaprabhu was in the sannyas ashram now, he is saying that in his purva ashram, Shankararanya was his brother and Jagannath Mishra was his father. Verse 302. Ei mata dui jane ishta goshti kari dwarka dekhite chalila Srirangapuri. After finishing his talks with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srirangapuri started for Dwarka Dham. Verse 303. Dinachari tatha Prabhu ke rakhila brahmana Bhima nadi snana karena Vithala darshana. After Srirangapuri departed for Dwarka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained with the Brahman at Pandharpura for 4 more days. He took his bath in the Bhima river and visited the temple of Vithala. Verse 304. Tabe Mahaprabhu aila Krishna Venava dhire Nana Tirth dekhi tahan devta mandire. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next went to the bank of the Krishna Venava river, where he visited many holy places and the temples of various gods. Purport: this river is a branch of the river Krishna. It is said that Thakur Bilvamangal resided on the banks of this river, which is also called the Veena, the Veni, the Sina, and the Bhima. Verse number 305. Brahmana Samaj Sabha, and as we know, Bilvamangal Thakur is the one who wrote the prayers which we sing during the Purushottam month. Excuse me. Verse number 305. Brahmana Samaj Sabha Vaishnav Charita Vaishnav Sakala Pade Krishna Karnamrita. The Brahman community there was composed of pure devotees. They regularly studied a book entitled Krishna Karnamrita, which was composed by Bilvamangal Thakur. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This book was composed by Bilvamangal Thakur in 112 verses. There are 2 or 3 other books bearing the same name, and there are also 2 commentaries on Bilvamangal's book. One commentary was written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and the other by Chaitanya Das Goswami. Verse number 306. Krishna Karnamrita Shuni Prabhura Ananda Haila Agra Kariya Punthi Lekhan Laila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to hear the book Krishna Karnamrita, and with great eagerness he had it copied and took it with him. Verse 307. Karnamrita sama vastu nahi tribhuvane yaha haite haya Krishne shuddha prema jnane. There is no comparison to the Krishna Karnamrita within the 3 worlds. By studying this book, one is elevated to the knowledge of pure devotional service to Krishna. Verse 308. सौंदर्य माधुर्य कृष्ण लीलार अवधि से जाने ये कर्णामृता पड़े niravadhi. One who constantly reads the Krishna Karnamrita can fully understand the beauty and melodious taste of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Verse number 309. Brahma Samhita Karnamrita Tui Punthi Pana Maharatna Praya Pae Aila Sange Lena. The Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrit were two books that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered to be most valuable jewels. Therefore, he took them with him on his trip. Verse number 310. Tapi snana kari aila mahishmati pure nana tirth dekhi tahan narmadar tire. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next arrived at the banks of the river Tapi. After bathing there, he went to Mahishmati Pura. While there, he saw many holy places on the banks of the river Narmada. Purport: the river Tapi is also known as Tapti. The river source is a mountain called Multai, and the river flows westward through the state of Saurashtra and into the Arabian Sea. Mahishmati Pura, which is Maheshwar, is mentioned in Mahabharata in connection with Sahadev's victory. Sahadev, the younger brother of the Pandavas, conquered that part of the country as stated in Mahabharata. Tato Ratnani Upadhyay Purim Mahishmatim Yayo Tatra Nilena Rajna Sachakre Yuddham Nara Rishabha. After acquiring jewels, Sahadev went to the city of Mahishmati, where he fought with a king called Nil. Verse 311. Dhanush Tirth Dekhi Karila Nirvindhyate Snane Rishyamuk Giri Aila Dandakaranay. The Lord next arrived in Dhanush Tirth, where he took his bath in the river Nirvindhya. He then arrived at Rishyamuk mountain and then went to Dandakaranya. Purport: according to some opinions, Rishyamuk is a chain of mountains beginning at the village of Hampi Gram in the district of Bellary. The mountain chain begins along the bank of river Tungabhadra, which gradually reaches the state of Hyderabad. According to other opinions, this hill is situated in Madhya Pradesh and bears the present name of Rampa. Dandakarane is a spacious tract of land which begins north of Khandesh and extends up to the southern Ahmednagar through Nasik and Aurangabad. Ahmednagar through Nasik and Aurangabad. The Godavari flows through this tract of land, and there is a great forest there where Lord Ramchandra lived. Verse number 312. Saptatal vriksha dekhe kanan bhitara ati vridh ati sthula ati uchatar. Within the Dandakaranya forest, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited a place called Saptatal. The 7 palm trees, they were very old, very bulky and very high. The name Saptatal is mentioned in Kishkindeya section of Ramayana and is described in the 11th and 12th chapters of that section. Verse number 313. Saptatal dekhi Prabhu alingana kaila sasharire Saptatal Vaikunthe Chalila. Upon seeing the 7 palm trees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them. As a result, they all returned to Vaikuntha Lok, the spiritual world. Verse 314. Shunya sthal dekhi lokera haila chamatkar loke kahe e sannyasi Ram avatar. After the 7 palm trees had departed for Vaikuntha, everyone was astonished to see that they were gone. The people then began to cry, this sannyasi called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be an incarnation of Lord Ramchandra. Verse 315. Sasharire tal gela Shri Vaikuntha Dham Aiche Shakti Kar Haya Vina ek Ram, only Ramchandra has the power to send 7 palm trees to the spiritual Vaikuntha planets. Verse 316. Prabhu Kaila Pampa Sarovare Snan, Panchavati Asi Tahan Karila Vishram. Eventually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at the lake known as Pampa, where he took his bath. He then went to a place called Panchavati, where he rested. Purport, according to some, the old name of Tungabhadra river was Pamba. According to others, Vijayanagar, the capital of the state, was known as Pampatirth. According to still others, the lake near Anagundi in the direction of Hyderabad is Pampa Sarovar. The river Tungabhadra also flows through there. There are many different opinions about the lake called Pampa Sarovar. Verse 317. Nasike Trayambak Tekhi Gela Brahmagiri Kushavarte Aila Yaha Janmela Kudavari. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited Nasik, where he saw the deity of Trayambak, Lord Shiva. He then went to Brahmagiri and then to Kushavarta, the source of the river Godavari. Purport, Kushavarta is located in the western Ghat in the Sayadri. It is near Nasik, a holy place, but according to some, it was situated in the valley of Vindhya. Verse 318. Sapta Godavari Aila Kari Tirtha Bahutara Punarapi Aila Prabhu Vidyanagar. After visiting many other holy places, the Lord went to Sapta Godavari. At last, he returned to Vidyanagar. In this way, now this is the purport. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travelled from the source of the Godavari river and eventually visited the northern side of Hyderabad state. He finally arrived at the state of Kalinga. Verse 319. Ramananda Rai Shuni Prabhura Agamana Anande Asiya Kaila Prabhu Sahamilan. When Ramananda Rai heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival, he was very pleased and he immediately went to see him. Verse 320. Dandavat Hena Pade Charane Dhariya Alingana Kaila Prabhu Tanre Uttana. When Ramananda Rai fell flat, touching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately raised him to his feet and embraced him. Verse 321. Duijane Premaveshe Karina Krandana Premanande Sthila Haila Dunhakara Mana. In great ecstatic love, they both began to cry, and thus their minds were slackened. Verse 322. Keta Kshane Dui Jana Susthirahena Nana Ishta Goshti Kare Ekatra Vasiya. After some time, they regained their senses and sat together to discuss various subjects. Verse 323. Tirthayatra Katha Prabhu Sakala Kaila Karnamrita Brahma Samhita Dui Punthi Dila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Ramananda Rai a vivid description of his travels to the holy places and told him how he had acquired the 2 books named Krishna Karnamrita and Brahma Samhita. The Lord delivered the books to Ramananda Rai. Verse 324. Prabhu kahe tumi ye siddhant kahile ei dui panthi se sab sakshi dile. The Lord said, whatever you have told me about devotional service is all supported by these 2 books. Verse 325. Raira Ananda Haila Pustak Paiya Prabhu Seh Aswadila Rakila Likhya. Ramananda Rai was very happy to receive these books. He tasted their contents along with the Lord and made a copy of each. Verse 326. Gosani Aila Grame Haila Kolahal Prabhu ke Dekite Lok Aila Sakala. News spread in the village of Vidyanagar about the arrival of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and everyone came to see him once again. Verse 327. Loka Deki Ramananda Gela Nij Ghare Madhyahane Uthila Prabhu Bhiksha Karibare. After seeing the people who gathered there, Sri Ramananda Rai returned to his home. At noon, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up to take his lunch. Verse 328. Ratri Kale Rai Punah Kaila Agman Duijane Krishna Kathaye Kaila Jagaran. Sri Ramananda Rai returned at night, and he and the Lord discussed topics concerning Krishna. Thus they passed the night. Verse 329. Duijane Krishna Katha Kahe Ratri Dine Param Anande Gela Panch Sat Dine. Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed Krishna day and night, and thus they passed from 5 to 7 days in great happiness. Verse 330. Ramananda Kahe Prabhu Tomar Agya Pana Raja Ke Likhilun Ami Vinay Kariya. Ramananda Rai said, My dear Lord, with your permission, I have already written a letter to the king with great humility. Verse 331. Raja More Agya Dila Nila Chale Yaite Chali Bar Udyog Ami Lagiyachi Karite. The king has already given me an order to return to Jagannath Puri, and I am making arrangements to do that. Verse 332. Prabhu kahe Etha Mora E Nimitte Agamana Tuma Lena Nilachale Kariba Gamana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, It is for this purpose alone that I have returned. I want to take you with me to Jagannath Puri. Verse 333. Rai kahe Prabhu Age Chala Nilachale Mora Sange Hati Goda Sanya Kolahali. Ramananda Rai said, My dear Lord, it is better that you proceed to Jagannath Puri alone, because with me there will be many horses, elephants and soldiers, all roaring tumultuously. Verse 334. Dina dashe tha iha sabar kari samadhan tomar pache pache ami kariba prayan. I shall make arrangements within 10 days. Following you, I shall go to Nilachal without delay. Verse 335. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tanre Asite Agya Diya Nilachale Chalila Prabhu Anindita Hena, giving orders to Ramananda Rai to come to Nilachal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for Jagannath Puri with great pleasure. Verse 336. Yei Pathe Purve Prabhu Kaila Agamana Sai Pathe Chalila Dekhi Sarva Vaishnav Gana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned by the same road he had formerly taken to Vidyanagar, and all the Vaishnavas along the way saw him again. Verse 337. Yaha yae lok uthe hari dhvani kari dekhi anandita mana haila gurahari. Wherever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, the holy name of Sri Hari was vibrated. Seeing this, the Lord became very happy. Verse 338. Ala lante asi Krishnadase Pathaila Nityananda Adi Nij Gane Bolaila. When the Lord reached Alalanta, he sent his assistant Krishnadas ahead to call for Nityananda Prabhu and other personal associates. Verse 339. Prabhura Agamana Shuni Nityananda Rai Utiya Chalila Preme Theha Nahi Pai. As soon as Nityananda Prabhu received the news of arrival of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately got up and started out to see him. Indeed, he was very impatient in his great ecstasy. Verse 340. Jagadananda Damodar Pandita Mukunda Nachiya Chalila Dehe Na Dhare Ananda. Sri Nityananda Rai, Jagadananda, Damodar Pandit and Mukunda all became ecstatic in their happiness, and dancing along the way they went to meet the Lord. Verse 341. Gopinathacharya Chalila Anandita Hena Prabhure Milila Sabe Patel Lagpena. Gopinath Acharya also went in a very happy mood. They all went to meet the Lord, and they finally contacted him on the way. Verse 342. Prabhu Prema Veshe Sabaye Kaila Alingana Prema Veshe Sabe Kare Ananda Krandana. The Lord was also filled with ecstatic love, and he embraced them all. Out of their love, they began to cry with pleasure. Verse 343. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Anande Chailila Samudrera Tire Asi Prabhure Milila. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also went to see the Lord with great pleasure, and he met him on the beach by the sea. Verse 344. Sarvabhauma Mahaprabhura Padila Charane Prabhu Tandre Uthana Kaila Alingane. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord pulled him up and embraced him. Verse 345. Premaveshe Sarvabhauma Karila Rodane Sabha Sange Aila Prabhu Ishwar Darshane. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya cried in a great ecstatic love. Then the Lord, accompanied by them all, went to the temple of Jagannath. Verse 346. Jagannath Darshan Premaveshe Kaila Kampa Sweda Pula Sharute Sharir Bhasila. Due to ecstatic love experienced upon visiting Lord Jagannath, inundations of trembling, perspiration, tears and jubilation swept the body of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 347. Bahunritya Geet Kaila Prema Vishtahena Panda Pal Aila Sabe Mala Prasad Lena. In ecstatic love, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and chanted. At the time of all the attendants and priests came to offer him a garland and the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food. Purport: those who are priests engaged in Lord Jagannath's service are called pandas or pandits, and they are brahmanas. The attendants who look after the temple's external affair are called palas. The priests and attendants went together to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 348. Mala Prasad Pana Prabhu Susthira Haila Jagannathira Sevak Sab Anande Milila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became patient after receiving the garland and prasadam of Lord Jagannath. All the servants of Lord Jagannath met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great pleasure. Verse 349. Kashi Mishra Asi Prabhura Padila Charane Manya Kari Prabhu Tandre Kaila Alingane. Afterwards, Kashi Mishra came and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord respectfully embraced him. Verse 350. Prabhu Lena Sarvabhauma Niche Ghare Gela Mora Ghare Bhiksha Bali Nimantrana Kaila. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then took the Lord with him to his home, saying, "Today's luncheon will be at my home." In this way, he invited the Lord. Verse 351. Divya Mahaprasad Anek Anaila Pitha Pana Adi Jagannath Ye Khaila. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya brought various types of food remnants that had been left by Lord Jagannath. He brought all kinds of cakes and condensed milk preparations. Verse 352. Madhyana Karila Prabhu Nij Gana Lena Sarvam Ghare Bhiksha Karila Asya. Accompanied by all his associates, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house and took his lunch there. Verse 353. Bhiksha Karan Tandre Karaila Sashayan Apne Sarvabhauma Kare Pad Samvahana. After offering food to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made him lie down to rest, and he personally began to massage the legs of the Lord. Verse 354. Prabhu Tandre Pathaila Bhojan Karite Se Ratri Tandra Kare Rahila Tandra Prite. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to take his lunch, and Lord remained that night in his home just to please him. Verse 355. Sarvabhauma Sange Ar Lena Nijgana Tirtha Yatra Katha Kahi Kaila Jagrana. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates remained with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. They all stayed awake the entire night as the Lord spoke of his pilgrimage. Verse 356. Prabhu kahe eta tirtha kailun paryatna Toma Sama Vaishnav na Dekhilun Ekajana. The Lord told Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have travelled to many holy places, but I could not find a Vaishnav as good as you anywhere. Verse 357. Eka Ramananda Rai Bahu Sukha Dila Bhatta Kahe E Lagi Milite Kahila. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I received much pleasure from the talks of Ramananda Rai. Purport. The Bhattacharya replied, for this reason I requested that you meet him. In Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya, beginning of the 8th act, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Sarvabhauma, I have travelled to many holy places, but I cannot find Vaishnava as good as you anywhere. However, I must admit that Ramananda Rai is wonderful. Sarvam Bhattacharya replies, therefore, my lord, I requested that you see him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then says, there are of course many Vaishnavas in these holy places, and most of them worship Lord Narayan there. Others who are called Tattvavadis are also Lakshmi Narayan worshippers, but they do not belong to the pure Vaishnav cult. There are many worshippers of Lord Shiva, and there are also many atheists. Regardless, my dear Bhattacharya, I very much like Ramananda Rai and his opinions. Verse 358, Tirtha Yatra Katha Ei Kailun Samapan Sankshepe Kailu Vistar Nagyay Varnan. Thus I have ended my narration about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pilgrimage, describing it in brief. It cannot be described very broadly. Purport Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur points out that in the 74th verse of this chapter, it is stated that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Shiali Bhairavi, but actually at Shiali, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Sri Bhu Varaha. Near Shiali and Chidambaram, there is a temple known as Sri Mushanam. In this temple, there is a deity of Sri Bhu Varaha. In the jurisdiction of Chidambaram, there is a district known as Southern Arcata. The town of Shiali is in that district. There is a temple of Sri Bhu Varaha Dev nearby, not Bhairavi Devi. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's conclusion. Verse 359, Ananta Chaitanya lila kahite na jani, lobhe lajja kahna khana tar kari tanatani. Tanatani means some attempt only. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are unlimited. No one can properly describe his activities, yet I make the attempt out of greed, but this reveals my shamelessness. Verse 360, Prabhura Tirth Yatra Katha Shune Ye Jana Chaitanya Charane Pai Gard Premadhana. Whoever hears of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pilgrimage to various holy places attains the riches of very deep ecstatic love. Purport, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks, the impersonalists imagine some form of the absolute truth through the direct perception of the senses. The impersonalists worship such imaginary forms, but neither Srimad Bhagavatam nor Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts this sense gratificatory worship to be of any spiritual significance. The Mayavadis imagine themselves to be supreme. They imagine that the Supreme has no personal form and that all his forms are imaginary, like the will or the wisp or flower in the sky. Both Mayavadis and those who imagine forms of God are misguided. According to them, worship of the deity or any other form of the Lord is a result of the conditioned soul's illusion. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam on the strength of his philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. That philosophy holds that the Supreme Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation. That is to say, there is unity in diversity. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proved the impotence of fruitive workers, speculative, empiric philosophers, and mystic yogis. The realization of such men is simply a waste of time and energy. To set the example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally visited temples in various holy places. Wherever he visited, he immediately exhibited his ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When a Vaishnava visits the temple of a demigod, his vision of that demigod is different from the vision of the impersonalists and Mayavadis. The Brahma Samhita supports this. A Vaishnava visit to the temple of Lord Shiva, for example, is different from the non-devotee's visit. The non-devotee considers the deity of Lord Shiva as an imaginary form because he ultimately thinks that supreme absolute truth is void. However, a Vaishnava sees Lord Shiva as being simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Lord. In this regard, this example of milk and yogurt is given. Yogurt is actually nothing but milk, but at the same time it is not milk. It is simultaneously one with milk, yet different from it. This is the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mana matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva avasthita. By me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me and I am not in them. The absolute truth God is everything, but this does not mean that everything is God. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers visited the temples of all the demigods, but they did not see them in the same way as an impersonalist see them. Everyone should follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and visit all temples. Sometimes mundane Sahajias suppose that the gopis visited the temple of Katyayani in the same way mundane people visit the temple of Devi. However, the gopis prayed to Katyayani to grant them Krishna as their husband, whereas mundaners visit the temple of Katyayani to receive some kind of material profit. That is the difference between a Vaishnava visit and a non-devotee's visit. Not understanding the process of disciplic succession, so-called logicians put forward the theory of Panchopasana, in which a person worships one of 5 deities, namely Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, the sun god, or Ganesha. In this conception, the impersonalist imagines one of these 5 deities as supreme and reject the others. Such philosophical speculation, which is certainly idol worship, is not accepted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or by Vaishnavas. This imaginary deity worship has recently been transformed into Mayavadi impersonalism. For want of Krishna consciousness, people are victimized by the Mayavadi philosophy and consequently they sometimes become staunch atheists. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established the process of self-realization by his own personal behavior as stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Lila 8.274. Sthavar Jangam Dekhe na dekhe tar murti sarvatra haya nij isht deva spurti. A Vaishnav never sees the material form of anything, moving or non-moving. Rather, everywhere he looks, he sees the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and immediately he remembers the transcendental form of the Lord. Verse 361. Chaitanya Charita Shuna Shraddha Bhakti Kari Matsarya Chadiya Mukhe Bola Bala Hari Hari. Please hear the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and devotion, giving up envy of the Lord. Everyone chant the Lord's holy name, Hari. Verse 362. E Kali Kale Ar Nahi Kon Dharma Vaishnav Shastra E Kahe Marma. In this age of Kali, there are no genuine religious principles other than those established by Vaishnava devotees and the Vaishnava scriptures. This is the sum and substance of everything. Purport: one must have firm faith in the process of devotional service and the scriptures that support it. If one hears the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with this faith, he can be freed from the envious position. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for such non-envious persons. Nirmatsaranam Satam. In this age, a person should not envy Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, but should chant the holy names of Hari and Krishna, the Maha Mantra. This is the sum and substance of the eternal religion known as Sanatan Dharma. In this verse, the word Vaishnav refers to a pure devotee and fully realized soul, and the word Vaishnav Shastras refers to Shruti or the Vedas, which are called Shabda Praman, the evidence of transcendental sound. One who strictly follows the Vedic literature and chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will actually be situated in the transcendental disciplic succession. Those who want to attain life's ultimate goal must follow this principle. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.17, it is said, Shruti Pratyaksham Etiyam Anumanam Chatushtayam Pramaneshva Anvasthanad Vikalpat Sa Virajyate. Vedic literature, direct perception, history, and hypothesis are the 4 kinds of evidential proofs. Everyone should stick to these principles for the realization of the absolute truth. Verse 363. Chaitanya Chandrera Lila Agad Gambhira Pravesh Karite Nari Sparshi Rahi Tira. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just like an unfathomable ocean. It is not possible for me to enter into it simply standing on the shore, but I am touching the water. Verse 364. Chaitanya Charita Shraddhaya Shune Ye Jana Yatek Vichare Tata Paya Premadhana. The more one hears the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith, analytically studying them, the more one attains the ecstatic riches of love of Godhead. Verse 365. Shirup Raghunath Pade Yar Asha Chaitanya Charitamrit Lakahe Krishnadasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shirupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit, following in their footsteps. Purport: as usual, the author concludes the chapter by reciting the names of Shirupa and Raghunath and reinstating himself at their lotus feet. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Lila, 9th chapter, describing Shri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu's travels to many holy places in South India. So, after the travels of South India of Mahāprabhu, we will be starting reading the chapter number 10, the Lord's return to Jagannath Puri, next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.